What's up, guys? Team Junkyard Dog here today, and it's been a long time since we've just posted a regular video of a build or something we're working on. I do want to get back more into that, so I'm starting today. Now, if you guys were at the last event, I haven't posted the fights of this event yet. It's about a month overdue, and I will be posting those fights, but I did reinvent Rougaroo. In case you didn't know, Rougaroo before was basically a very modified vector kit that was a very hard-hitting robot, and it did very well until the rise of all these crazy verts. About the time the Peterbar kit came out and people were cloning Lenses, it quickly became obsolete and was just getting trashed on the regular. So I decided to redesign Rougaroo, and I came up with a design like this. It is an undercutter. The blade does basically scrape the ground, it's so low. And I took it out for the first event. Completely experimental phase, just seeing if the weapon stack would hold up and how it would do. I had a couple issues. Number one was it was a 1450 kV motor by Flash Hobby. It spun up way too slow. I could not get my weapon spinning fast enough in time for that first weapon on weapon contact, or that first hit. I would have to play hide and seek until I could get the weapon spinning, which is no good because I'm not a very good driver. So the second thing was that the chassis was too light. As you can see, it took a bunch of damage. It did not hold up very well. But other than that, it did hit extremely hard. It did okay for the first outing. I knew that it wasn't going to be the greatest performance when I brought it out the first time, because I just wanted to kind of check it out and see how it did, and like I said, see what needed to be fixed. So needless to say, I did come home. I did do a bit of a redesign. So rather than having the fully squared off chassis like this, I needed to compact my chassis a little bit to save weight and to make it stronger. As you can see, it's extremely flimsy. So the design that I did come up with is like this now. This is the new chassis in PLA. I've just completed this test print, so I am going to try to put this all together so I can spin the weapon up. I've gone from a 1450 kV motor by Flash Hobby to a 700 and a 750 kV Flash Hobby motor. It's a 3536. I want to see if I can get that to work. I'm thinking lower kV, more torque, spin up quicker. I am running a gear drive in there, as you can tell, so it's a carbon fiber nylon gear on the motor for heat resistance, and then the actual weapon pulley itself, the weapon gear, is made out of TPU. So what I'm going to do is, real quick, I'm going to go ahead and convert everything from the old chassis over to the new chassis, and then once I do that, we're going to throw it in the box and try to spin it up and see if it's working. Another thing that I tried is I ran the old Mega Sparks. We had like 6 of these laying around. I was using that for the gear drive. I have converted it now to the Repeat Pros. I do like the square and the squareness of that for holding the motor still inside the chassis, and I do like the specs on this, and I also like the fact that it's more compact than a Mega Spark, so it's saving me weight, and it's also saving me a little bit of room. Alright, so here's a little bit closer look of the two. You have the new Rougaroo here with the test chassis. Basically all I did was I brought this up, attached this, made it a little more compact because I had way too much room in here, and with this not being connected to the weapon stack, it was just too wiggly. So basically when the top plates were coming loose, it was just getting too much movement, and it just did not, it's not the best design. So that's when I went this way. It's now connected. We saved a lot of space, we saved a lot of weight, and all I really need to do is put in the second drive motor right here, and we're going to drop the weapon stack in first. The weapon stack is fairly simple. I just use this little bolt right here for the main bolt, which works out nice. It gets my weapon blade very close to the ground. You can see on here my weapon blade, you can see I have a few little chips out of the top of it where the verts were just glancing the top of it. For the most part, it was going underneath their weapons and not taking any direct hits. Now this was a hodgepodge right here. These are heat inserts into this TPU gear, and you can see how much I had to deform it to get it tight to keep everything connected. I will be improving this very soon. This next event I am not going to be running it like this. That was a last minute fix in the hotel room the night before the event. I have a large spacer to go on the bolt for the bearing to ride on. It is a 1 inch by 3/4 double roller bearing, so it's a very stout bearing stack. But I don't have to take all that apart. For testing, I'm going to leave this just like it is, but I do need to pull out all this. Now this is 3mm aluminum. I am going to go with carbon fiber for weight savings with this. I just need to get it to come apart the rest of the way. You can see what the inside of the stack looks like. This is that 1450 kV motor right here. This is where the main bolt goes through. This is a carbon fiber plate. This is 3mm. This is actually cut out of the old Rougaroo chassis. What I need to do is get this out, and then we will get to work. I don't think popping this pulley off is going to be so easy. The reason why I'm not going directly to, like, say, like a badass motor is because I've already designed these pulleys to fit on the Flash Hobby motors. If I can get the 750 kV to spin up faster than this 1450 and actually pull it off, I can buy these for $16 a piece rather than spending $50 a piece. So that's my overall goal. I try to save money where I can in this sport. And there's the plate. This is how I mount the motors. And that's going to go right in here after I switch it over to the new motor. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and finish taking this off, and I'm going to start transferring it over here. Then I'll show you a couple clips of what this looks like while it's being put together. And then hopefully after that it's just a matter of swapping electronics in and being ready for testing. Alright, so let's feed our wires through like we were going to do just shortly a little bit ago. Nearly there, just a bit more trimming, we'll be good to go. Well, this gets about as ugly as it comes, to be honest. I did get the weapon stack on, everything's bolted on, I got the new motor in. It does spin fairly free. I usually like it to be a little bit more free than this, but I mean, yeah, this is about as ugly as it gets. But the whole point of this mock-up is not to see if the chassis itself fits. You can see I've cracked this thing everywhere. It's for the point of seeing how fast it spins up. And this is kind of what's cool about the new design too, is you have this opening in the back, so the blade actually sticks out about, you know, 1.5 inches out of the back of the bot. So if somebody was pushing me from the back, they're going to catch the blade out of the back of the robot as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to drop another drive motor in here. I'm going to bring the electronics from here over into Rougaroo mock-up here, and we're going to test out the spin-up time to see how quickly it spins up. Okay, so that looks like a death trap, but don't worry, I am going to protect myself. My test box is busted, so there's no difference between running it here like this. I'm going to go hide behind this cabinet. And it still seems to be a very slow spin up. Alright guys, so after a little more research and bringing in the expert Carter, do you want to say anything? No. He doesn't want to say anything. We decided, or he decided, that I should reprogram the ESC, an oversight of mine. It was set up in the default settings for a 14-pole motor, which a lot of us use, but it was set up for a 2000 kV plus motor, and I'm running a 750 kV motor. So let's see how it responds now compared to before. I'm sure a badass motor would be quicker, but I think that's going to be quick enough for me for now. So, success. Alright guys, here it is. The actual TPU version of Rougaroo's chassis. Now after that successful weapon motor test, and I know some people when I posted the short were concerned that I'm not being safe because it was on the floor. Mind you, I'm hiding behind a steel cabinet whenever I was doing that. My test box currently has both panels, clear panels, busted out thanks to Drum Gun and Carter. So that's the way I tested it, but I rest assured that I was the only one in the garage. It's in the garage and I was behind the steel cabinet, so it's fine. And here it is right here. I used PLA supports, hoping that they would be more breakaway, but they did stick a little bit. I used the PLA as an interface layer, and it's nice and flat, but I wish it would have come off, but it didn't. But overall, the print came out quite nice. This is Polymaker's black TPU. I did print this on the Snapmaker. Now, what we're going to do now real quick, since we've already test fitted everything with the PLA chassis, we've spun it up in the PLA chassis, we know that everything's nice and loose, works quite fine. The new motor has enough horsepower to get this spinning in a reasonable time. What we need to do now is I'm just going to transfer everything into the final chassis, weigh it up, do a drive test, whack some stuff, see if the motor can last a full like 2 to 3 minutes and still spin up, like not burn the motor out. And then we're going to see how much weight is left over for actual armor. I know I'm going to have to put a nose piece on here, even if it's a thicker TPU layer, if I can't do aluminum. And I also am hoping to get wheel guards as well. So, let's get it done. Alright, so it's Monday at almost 2 a.m. And yeah, it's getting quite late. The competition, we leave Friday night. So, time is short. But I have figured out my wheel size. It's 3.1 or 3.2 inches will do. And what I had to do was I had to extend my wires from this side. So my battery wire now runs through here, and so does the motor wires right here. So I put bullet connectors, I put the battery connector on this side, and I ran everything over because this side is where all the electronics are going to be. This is the battery side. So when you flip it, if I can pry this out like so, you can see that that is where my wires pass through. Kind of an improvisation, but that's where it is. So now what we're doing is here on the AD5X, we are printing the mold for the wheels. This is going to be for the urethane over foam wheels. After that prints, we can actually pour our molds. And then what we're doing over here is we're using the laser, and we are cutting out the foam sensors for the urethane wheels. And that's what they're going to look like. Those are going to sit in the mold. These are the little pockets to trap the urethane. So Rougaroo gets a nice big wheel that is nice and light. And I'm going to show you guys how quick we can cut out wheels now, because we now have the Snapmaker 40-watt laser. So I'm going to hit complete on that, and I apologize for all the wind noise. So we're going to shut this noisy door, and then what we're going to do is hit start job, confirm, and let's see how fast the laser can cut out these two wheels. I know it's hard to see with the glare. But as you can see, it's making very quick work of this foam. That 40-watt laser can cut 3/4 inch plywood. So 3/4 inch foam is zero challenge. The first wheel's already done. We're cutting the second wheel right now. I have to keep the door for just a moment after it cuts, just to clear the smoke out so it doesn't get out through the house. I do ventilate everything out through next to my garage AC right there. So I do have to give it a moment for all that stuff to go through. And just like that, we have two foam wheels cut out. How cool is that? Alright, I'm sure all the smoke isn't quite gone yet. It's still a little smoky in there, but you can see how well it comes out. I'll just shut this door back. My wife's going to come yell at me, ask me if something's on fire. But there you go. That's how you cut out your wheel centers. Now we just have to do a little more wire tucking here, get the wheels finalized, figure out if I have any weight left for wheel armor, and Rougaroo should be good. We'll be testing him shortly. Alright, so we're making progress with the Rougaroo. We are now setting the CNC up. We're cutting out the carbon fiber covers for the top and the bottom. And yeah, you can see the first cover. It came out quite nice. Sorry about the wind noise from the fan. But yeah, we just gotta keep going. We'll hit start, confirm, and hurry up and shut the door. Let the exhaust fan take care of all that stuff. So pretty soon we'll be doing final assembly and testing. Alright, so everything is going according to plan. Here is Rougaroo to this point. This is the electronic side. This is the battery side. I have the weapon on, everything's meshed up. All the gears are nice and greased up. So he is very, very close to being combat ready. The one other thing, because I did come about 2.5, almost 3 ounces underweight in this configuration, and that's including with my new rubberized tires that we made. This is urethane over foam, cut out of a gym mat, but I'm also going to have weight for wheel armor for the first time, so that's going to be a welcome addition. I'm just going to bolt these on right here. They're going to go just like this and add at least 1 hit's worth of protection on those expensive drive motors. Got to try to protect the components, because that's where all the cost is. So everything's looking good. Next time you see this, we're going to be doing a test drive. So let's see how it goes. Alright guys, so you saw the testing, and this is very far distant future Steve, like a week into the future. The competition was this past weekend, which was like 3 days ago, and things went meh, we'll say. Rougaroo got some pretty hard hits on him. He got hit there, got a chunk taken out there. But I did only use one chassis, so it wasn't completely devastating. But I had a problem. I just kept eating myself. The very first match, and you're going to get to see all 3 fights. The very first match, what happened was I got hit. My bar got slightly bent by a temporal tear. When the weapon bar came around, it went between the bottom plate and the chassis, slicing my drive motor and also chopping my battery, but luckily the battery did not go up in smoke. The second time it ate itself, I didn't double check my screws, I guess, in the top. The weapon motor vibrated loose, dropped down. When it dropped down, the weapon bar came around and chopped off my carbon fiber nylon pulley and put a gouge in the top of my motor. Maybe this motor is still good, I don't know, but we're going to find out. But with that being said, overall, somewhat successful, has potential. I need to fight it again, and that will happen after Makers Faire 2025. But guys, go ahead, enjoy the fights, and thank you so much for watching this video. Alright, this is Rougaroo at the start of the day. He's driving like crap, but he's going to drive. I got to fix it. One drive is now pulling way harder than the other, but I'll work on that. On top of Rougaroo today, and of course Rougaroo has to fight that guy over there, Adam, temporal tear first. So that's not going to be good for Rougaroo. Okay, so here we go. Versus temporal tear. This is going to be a disaster. I knew it from the start. I got to spin up, I hit the wedge, bounced up, and right away, you can't see it, you can see it after the fight, my blade has gone between my chassis and my bottom plate and whacked my own drive and my battery. So right here, temporal tear does get a hit on my wheel, sucks my wheel into his weapon, and without his weapon he cannot self-right. So now he's starting to get counted out. And the debate is starting to break out immediately whether it is entanglement or not, because my wheel stopped his weapon. And rather than have the debate, Adam kicked my butt fair and square. I just tapped out to end the conversation, and we move on to the next fight. Alright, so first round of fights are over, and it sucks. Here's Rougaroo. He ate his own self. Almost chopped up my own battery. Okay, so after a round of repairs, Rougaroo is definitely not going to do well. He's going to end up getting dropped today, but I'm going to try one more battle with him. As you can see, this is all warped and bent. It's got a nice chunk missing out there. I got a lot of research to do on this guy. Alright, so this match we're fighting Systematic Chaos. He box rushes me. He gets a little hit on me, then he gets himself in the pit. At that point, I just creep over, give him a few little taps on the side there, and he flips upside down in the pit and cannot get out. Now, Rougaroo is limping very severely on one side because I put a damaged motor in him, and I decided just to keep that for the rest of the event, but he did get his first win in this fashion. I was trying to cut the pit and chop it out of the way to get Nick out, but it didn't work out. Next fight. Alright, so this is Rougaroo versus ODB. And let's see how this goes. I get spun up pretty quick. I tried to avoid the box rush. And we go in for our first hit. And he flips himself over. Then I try to crab walk my way to him because I didn't want to spend money on another motor for a robot that wasn't doing great. And I chopped off one of his ears that he uses to drive around the arena on. And so Rougaroo's doing okay. I'm just having a hard time translating. I got another nice hit on him right there. And then it happened. The motor screws vibrated out of my weapon motor. My weapon motor dropped out of the bottom of the robot, and I chopped up my own weapon motor, and now all I can do is flail. I'm flailing away, trying to do something or last longer than ODB. So pretty much at this point, the match is over. ODB does get himself self-righted, and he gets a few hits on me. And then he ends up just flipping himself back upside down, and we pretty much end the match, just both of us trying to scoot around the arena. I did lose this. This was the final match that eliminated me. I did get some good data. I did learn a couple lessons. I was supposed to fight Big G, but Big G needed a lot of repair, so I forfeited Rougaroo for his favor. And that's it for Rougaroo. Guys, please like, subscribe, and we will see you on the next video.